The night was silent. The stars above the alien world were bright, and the camp was quiet. A lone human soldier sat inside his tent. The fire outside had burned down to soft red embers. The wind moved softly across the strange alien desert. Carrying a low hum that almost sounded like whispers, he felt uneasy. Though he did not know why, he had been on this planet for weeks, far away from Earth, far away from home. His mission was simple: watch the area, guard the camp, and wait for orders. Nothing ever happened here. The nights were long and the silence was heavier than any weapon he carried. But tonight something felt different, like eyes were on him, like shadows were moving where they should not. The soldier lay on his bedroll, trying to sleep, but his ears caught a sound. Soft, too soft, like cloth brushing against the sand. He opened his eyes quickly. His hand moved to the weapon beside him. He held his breath, listening. The sound came again, closer, crawling, dragging, careful, deliberate. Someone was out there. His heart began to pound. This planet was not empty. It was full of alien life, some friendly, some hostile, and some that humans barely understood. He thought of predators, he thought of scouts, he thought of enemies watching, waiting, testing. His grip on the weapon tightened, sweat ran down his back though the night was cold. The sound stopped. Silence returned, but it was not peace. It was heavier now, louder inside his head. He waited, muscles tight, ready for anything, and then it happened. The flap of the tent shifted slowly, quietly, like a hand had touched it from outside. He raised his weapon, eyes locked, ready to fire, but what he saw next froze him completely. Figure crawled inside, moving on hands and knees, sliding into the dim light of his lantern. It was a woman, or at least she looked like one. Her skin was pale with a strange silver glow. Her hair shimmered like strands of starlight, and her eyes glowed faintly blue in the darkness. She wore nothing, not even a thread, as if she had left every piece of covering behind on purpose. The soldier's mouth went dry. His finger tightened on the trigger, but something in her movement stopped him. She was not attacking, she was not rushing. She was calm, slow, deliberate, like she had chosen every step carefully, like this moment had been planned. She looked at him with eyes that held no fear, only something else, something he could not name. She raised a hand slowly, pressing a finger to her lips, asking for silence. Her voice came in a whisper, soft but clear. "Do not be afraid, this is a ritual. A sacred ritual of my people." The soldier blinked, his mind racing. Ritual? What kind of ritual was this? Why here? Why him? He did not lower his weapon, but he did not fire either. She crawled closer, the silver glow of her skin lighting the shadows of the tent. She stopped just a few feet away, looking directly into his eyes, her gaze unbroken. Her presence overwhelming, she whispered again, "I must do this. It is the way of unity. It is the way of truth. Without this, my people will never trust yours." His breathing grew heavy, his thoughts spinning. Was this real? Was this a trick? Was she a spy sent to test him, or was she telling the truth? Nothing in training had prepared him for this. No manual, no order. Nothing could explain why an alien woman would crawl into his tent at night and claim such a thing. He wanted to speak, but his throat was dry, his voice caught in his chest. He only managed a whisper. "Why me?" Her answer came without pause. "Because you are human. Because humans are different. Because humans must be tested." The words made no sense, yet they felt heavy, like they carried centuries of meaning. He felt torn between fear and curiosity, between duty and instinct. His weapon shook slightly in his hands, but he could not look away from her glowing eyes. She seemed fragile but powerful, soft but dangerous, like she carried a secret greater than this planet itself. The tent was silent except for their breathing. The night outside seemed to vanish, the stars and the wind forgotten. In that moment there was only him and her, the soldier and the alien, caught in a ritual he did not understand, yet could not escape. Her voice fell softer, almost like a prayer. "Do not resist, do not fear. This is the beginning." And with those words, the first step into a mystery deeper than space itself had begun. The soldier did not lower his weapon. His eyes never left the alien woman. The glow of her skin seemed alive in the lantern's light, and the silence inside the tent felt heavy like a stone. She knelt before him, calm and unshaken, as if she had done this many times before. Her voice was quiet, but each word carried power. "This is not danger," she whispered. Her glowing eyes locked on his. "This is tradition, a sacred act older than stars, older than memory. It is called the ritual of truth." The soldier's grip on the weapon tightened, his hands trembled slightly. He had trained for war, for ambush, for survival. But never for this. What do you mean? Ritual, he asked, his voice a low growl, part fear, part anger. The alien woman tilted her head gently, her silver hair falling across her shoulders like liquid light. Among my people, when two worlds meet, we must begin with honesty. No walls, no barriers, no lies. That is why I wear nothing. That is why I crawl to you as I am. Without shield, without mask, only truth. Her words made the air feel thicker. The soldier's heart raced. He looked at her, at the way she sat unafraid, not once flinching at his weapon, not once showing shame or hesitation. She was either a master at deception, or she truly believed what she said, and that thought unsettled him even more. He shook his head. You expect me to believe this, that this is some kind of ceremony? Yes, she whispered, leaning closer, her eyes never blinking. To test your spirit, to see if humans can be trusted. My people fear lies, they fear hidden motives. They fear betrayal. If you pass, they will see hope in you. If you fail, they will never trust your kind. The soldier swallowed hard, his throat dry. This was not in the manual. This was not in any briefing. No commander had said, oh, by the way, an alien may crawl into your tent and demand a ritual. And yet here he was, caught in a moment that felt both unreal and deadly serious. He wanted to laugh, but the intensity in her eyes froze the thought. This was not a game to her. This was not play. Her people believed this ritual meant everything, and she had chosen him alone, isolated, far from command, far from help, and whatever choice he made tonight could ripple across galaxies. The soldier thought of Earth. He thought of humanity's history. So many wars, so many lies, so many broken promises. Maybe that was why her people feared them. Maybe they had seen humans fight among themselves and doubted if trust was possible, and now this woman, this emissary, wanted him to prove otherwise. He lowered his weapon slightly, though his guard stayed high. And what happens if I refuse? He asked carefully. Her eyes darkened for the first time, her voice even softer now. Then my people will know you cannot be trusted. They will turn away. They may see humans as enemies forever. Your armies will march, their armies will rise, and the stars will burn with war. Her words were like a knife to his chest. Heavy and sharp, he imagined fleets of ships, battles in orbit, entire worlds burning because of a single choice inside a lonely tent. The weight of it pressed down on him until his breath grew shallow. She reached forward slowly, her hand hovering just above his weapon. Not touching, only waiting, her voice steady. This is not about your body. It is not about desire, it is about truth. The ritual demands honesty, nothing hidden. Nothing false. If you lie, the ritual breaks. If you resist, it fails. If you accept, then unity is possible. The soldier's mind raced. Was this real or was it a trap? Maybe she wanted him to lower his guard so others could strike. Maybe this was all a test to see if he was weak. But the way she spoke, the way she looked at him, it did not feel like a soldier's trick. It felt like something older, something sacred, something too strange to be a lie. Silence filled the tent. The soldier sat frozen, staring at her glowing eyes. The night outside whispered against the tent walls. The stars beyond seemed to listen, as if the entire universe waited for his answer. He wanted to speak, but his voice caught, his heart pounded. He felt the choice pressing on him like a storm. Why me? He whispered again. Her answer came like a blade cutting through the air. Sharp and certain, because you are human, and humans are different. You are unpredictable, dangerous, and yet full of hope. We must know if your kind is worthy. Her words echoed inside him. Worthy, the idea stung, but it also burned with truth. Humans had made mistakes, but humans had also risen higher than anyone expected. If this ritual was real, if her people judged humanity by his actions tonight, then every decision mattered. The lantern light flickered. Shadows danced across the tent. Her silver skin glowed brighter. Her presence filled the space like a storm waiting to break. The soldier realized he was standing on the edge of something far greater than himself. A ritual that could define humanity's future. A ritual that might decide peace or war, trust or destruction. And though his hands shook, though his heart screamed with fear, he knew one thing. This night was no longer about him. It was about all of humanity. The soldier sat frozen, his weapon heavy in his hands. The alien woman's words echoed in his head. Ritual, truth, unity. He wanted to believe her, but doubt clung to him like a shadow. He had seen too much war, too much betrayal, to trust so easily. Her glowing eyes never left him, her body still, her voice waiting, as if she could read every thought racing in his mind. She was calm, almost too calm, and that calmness unsettled him more than any weapon ever could. He thought of his training, the endless drills, the lessons repeated again and again. Trust no one. Question everything. The battlefield punished those who believed too quickly, and here he was, facing an alien woman who had crept into his tent, claiming a ritual could decide the fate of two species. It sounded impossible, it sounded like a trap, but still, there was something in her voice, something in her eyes that felt real. She spoke of truth, of honesty, and her presence was unguarded. She wore no armor, no weapon, nothing but her glowing skin and a strange belief that her words alone could change the stars. The soldier shook his head, his thoughts pulling him in two directions, one side screaming that she was dangerous, that she wanted to break his defenses, the other side whispering that maybe, just maybe, she was offering something greater than survival, something humanity had never been given before, a chance to be trusted by another world. His mouth felt dry, his voice cracked as he asked, "And if this is a trick, if this is all a game?" "What then?" Her reply came without hesitation, soft but steady. "Then you kill me, and my people will know. They will know humans cannot be trusted, and war will come. You may win battles, but you will lose something greater. You will lose the chance for peace." The weight of her words pressed on him like armor. Heavy. Suffocating. He could almost see the future she described. Fleets rising into the stars, worlds burning. Humans fighting not only for survival but against endless mistrust. The thought chilled him deeper than the cold desert wind. He lowered his weapon slightly but did not let go. The doubt still lived in him, strong and sharp. He asked again, "Why me? Why here? Why now?" She leaned closer, her silver hair falling like light around her face, her whisper almost a breath. "Because you are alone, because you have no orders, no one to command you. Only your choice matters here, and only your truth can guide this ritual." Her words unsettled him further. Alone, yes, he was alone, cut off from command. No one watching, no one to advise him. The weight of humanity rested on his shoulders alone. He had faced battles, he had faced death, but he had never faced a choice like this. A choice where one word could shape the destiny of two worlds. His heart beat faster, his hands trembled. He imagined the faces of his comrades, the voices of his commanders. What would they say? Some would laugh, call it weakness, others would rage, demand he kill her and end the risk. But deep inside he felt something else, a quiet voice telling him this moment was not about war, not about weapons, it was about truth. The soldier's doubt twisted tighter. Like a rope pulling him apart, he wanted to believe. But belief was dangerous, he wanted to reject. But rejection could mean war. He sat caught between two fires, unable to move, unable to choose. The alien woman watched him closely, her eyes glowing like stars, her voice softer now, almost pleading. "Do not think of me as enemy. Do not think of me as stranger. Think of me as mirror. Your choice shows who humans are, not who I am." Her words struck deep. A mirror, yes, this was not about her, not about one alien. It was about humanity itself. And that thought made his doubt heavier than ever before. What if he failed? What if he chose wrong? What if humanity's future broke because of him? The tent grew colder. The lantern flickered. Shadows danced like restless spirits across the canvas walls. Outside, the desert was silent, even the wind had stilled. It felt like the universe itself was waiting, holding its breath for his decision. The soldier's doubt became almost unbearable. Every thought a storm, every choice a knife. He wanted to run, to escape, but there was no escape. She was here, the ritual was here, and the future was here, trapped with him in this tent of silence and starlight. He closed his eyes for a moment. Breathing hard, he saw faces from his past, comrades lost in battle, friends buried under alien skies, his family far away on Earth. He remembered promises he had made, promises of survival, promises of honor, promises that humans would not give in to fear. And he wondered if this ritual was one more promise waiting to be kept. When he opened his eyes again, she was still there, waiting, patient, glowing. Her calmness was like a blade cutting through his storm. She whispered one last time, "Do not fear doubt. Doubt means you are human. Doubt means you are alive. But choice will show if you are worthy." The soldier's chest tightened. His heart raced. He knew the moment was coming, the moment when he would have to decide. And his doubt, heavy as it was, would not protect him anymore. It would only delay the future that demanded his answer. The soldier's hands were still trembling, his weapon heavy, his doubt sharp. But the alien woman remained calm, her glowing eyes watching him with patience that felt almost endless. She sat quietly for a long moment, then finally spoke. Her voice soft but filled with something deeper, something that carried both sorrow and strength. "You doubt me," she whispered, her eyes never leaving his, "and you should. Humans doubt because humans remember pain. But I will tell you why I am here, why I crawl into your tent with nothing, why I speak of ritual, why I risk my life for this." The soldier swallowed hard, his throat dry. He said nothing. But his silence was an invitation, she continued, her words flowing like a river of memory long ago. "Before your kind walked the stars, my people met another race. They too spoke of peace. They too spoke of unity. And we believed them. We trusted them. We opened our hearts and our homes. But they betrayed us. They used our trust as a weapon. They struck us when we were unguarded, and my people bled across the skies." Her voice trembled for the first time, though her eyes still glowed steady. The soldier felt the weight of her words. He could almost see it. Fleets burning, worlds falling, betrayal cutting deeper than any blade. She lowered her gaze, her voice softer. "Since that time, my people have feared trust. We build walls around our souls. We hide behind rituals. We test every stranger, because we cannot forget the pain of betrayal. Even now, even after centuries, the wounds remain." The soldier listened, his doubt still strong, but another feeling began to grow, something like understanding, something like pity. She was not only speaking of tradition, she was speaking of scars, scars carried by her entire race, scars that made trust impossible without trial, without ritual. She lifted her head again, her silver hair falling across her glowing shoulders, her eyes sharp once more. "Then humans came. Your kind stepped into the stars, bold, reckless, unpredictable, and my people watched. They saw both hope and danger in you. For you are not like the others. You are cruel but also kind. You are violent, but also gentle. You destroy, but you also heal. And so my people cannot decide. They cannot know if you are enemy or ally." Her words burned into him, every sentence cutting deeper. He wanted to argue. He wanted to say humans were not like that. But he knew she was not lying. Humanity was all of those things, full of contradictions, full of chaos, and that chaos frightened her people. The soldier's voice was rough as he finally spoke. "So this ritual, this crawling into my tent, this honesty you demand, it is to test me. To test humans, yes," she said simply. "To see if your kind can face truth without fear. If you can lower your walls, if you can stand without lies. If you can trust and be trusted." Her words hung in the air like smoke, heavy, unshakable. The soldier's doubt twisted inside him again, but her story had touched something in him. He understood pain. He understood betrayal. He understood scars that never healed. He had seen comrades die because someone lied, because someone betrayed, because trust was broken when it mattered most. The alien woman moved closer, slow and careful, her glowing skin lighting the shadows of the tent. "I was chosen because I am young, because I still believe peace is possible. Many of my people no longer believe. They only want war. They want to strike before you strike, but I begged for this chance. This ritual, this test. I said, let me go. Let me see if humans can be trusted. And so I came here alone, risking everything. For a chance at unity." Her voice broke slightly, a crack of emotion, and for the first time, the soldier saw not only a ritual, not only a test, but a living being before him. Someone who carried the weight of her people's fear. Someone who had risked everything to stand in his tent on this night. He looked at her, truly looked, and he saw the strength in her glowing eyes, but also the fear hiding behind them. The fear of being rejected, of being killed, of her people turning away forever if this moment failed. And in that moment his doubt shifted, not gone, but softer, mixed with something else, something like respect. The lantern flickered. The desert outside whispered again, but the tent felt like another world. A world where two souls sat across from each other, carrying the hopes of two civilizations. The soldier lowered his weapon further, though he did not release it. His voice steady but low. "If what you say is true, if this is real, then why me? Why not someone else? Someone wiser, someone stronger? Why risk everything on a soldier alone in the desert?" Her answer came without hesitation, her eyes sharp as blades. "Because truth cannot be given to leaders. Leaders carry lies, leaders wear masks, but soldiers carry honesty. Soldiers carry scars. Soldiers live with truth every day. That is why I chose you." The words struck him hard. He felt them in his chest, heavy and real. He remembered the faces of those he had lost, the truth of war written in their blood. He realized she was right. Soldiers knew truth better than anyone. Silence filled the tent once more, but this silence was different. Not the silence of fear, not the silence of doubt, but the silence of two beings standing on the edge of something greater. The alien woman's voice came one final time, softer than before, almost like a promise. "This is why I am here. This is why I crawled into your tent with nothing. To show you truth, to show you that unity is still possible. If you will accept it." The soldier's chest rose and fell, his mind still torn, his doubt still alive. But now within that doubt burned the first spark of belief. The tent was quiet. Only the sound of their breathing filled the space. The soldier sat with his weapon resting heavy in his hands. The alien woman sat close, her glowing eyes fixed on him, her story still echoing inside his mind. He felt the weight of everything she had said pressing down on him like a mountain. He wanted to believe her, but doubt still twisted inside him. Sharp and unforgiving, he had fought too many battles. He had seen too many lies. He had buried too many friends because someone's trust had been broken. Now here she was, asking him to do the one thing he had been taught never to do, to lower his guard, to trust completely. The alien woman leaned closer, her voice steady, soft, but carrying a force that cut through his doubt. "You must choose, human, if you refuse this ritual. My people will never believe in yours. They will turn away. They will prepare for war, and you will carry the weight of that choice." Her words struck deep. War. Endless war. Fleets burning, worlds falling, humanity fighting for survival against a race that had already decided humans were liars. The vision burned in his mind. It felt real, too real. He almost saw the stars filled with fire. He clenched his jaw, his voice low. "And if I accept, what then? What does it mean if I do this ritual?" She did not blink, her glowing eyes locked on his, her silver hair brushing her shoulders like strands of light. "If you accept, then my people will know. They will see that humans can face truth without fear, that you can stand without lies, and they will open their hearts to you. They will see unity. They will see hope." The words stirred something inside him. Hope. A word he had almost forgotten. A word that felt weak on battlefields, yet here in this moment it felt powerful. He looked down at his weapon, his reflection faint in the metal, his own eyes staring back at him, tired, scarred, heavy with choices. He remembered training, the endless orders, the voices of commanders telling him what to do, how to think, how to fight. But now no one was here, no voice, no order, no commander, only him, and the choice was his alone. The alien woman moved closer again, her voice now almost a whisper, but sharper than any blade. "Understand, human. This ritual is not about desire. It is not about your body. It is about truth. The moment you resist, the moment you hide, the ritual fails. But if you open yourself, if you accept, then you prove something greater. You prove that humans are worthy." The soldier's chest rose and fell heavily. His heart pounded. He felt the storm inside him growing louder. His instincts screamed caution. His training demanded control. But something deeper inside, something human, told him that maybe this was the moment he had been born for. Not to fight, not to kill, but to decide. He remembered faces, not of enemies but of children on ruined worlds, their eyes wide with fear as ships roared overhead. He remembered families torn apart by war, the cries of civilians begging for safety, and he thought, if this ritual could prevent even one war, if it could save even one child from seeing fire in the skies, then maybe it was worth the risk. But doubt still whispered. What if she lied? What if this was a trick? What if the moment he lowered his guard, others would strike? What if he failed, and his weakness destroyed humanity instead of saving it? His hand shook, his weapon heavy, his voice broke as he asked, "And if I accept, what happens now? What must I do?" The alien woman's glowing eyes softened. For the first time, her voice carried something fragile, almost gentle. "You must give me honesty. You must give me trust, nothing more, nothing less. The ritual is not about action. It is about choice, about standing before me with no mask, no wall, only truth." The soldier felt the words sink into him. Choice, yes, it had always been about choice. He realized now that this night was not a battle of weapons, but a battle of trust, a battle between fear and courage. Between doubt and belief, the tent grew colder. The lantern flickered again. Shadows bent and stretched across the canvas walls. Outside, the desert was still silent, as if the stars themselves were waiting for him to answer. His heart hammered inside his chest, his palms slick with sweat, his throat dry. He stared at the alien woman before him, her glowing body lit with silver light, her eyes sharp yet soft, her voice calm yet urgent. She was a stranger, an enemy, a mystery, and yet in this moment, she felt closer than anyone he had ever known. The soldier closed his eyes, took a long breath, and whispered, "If I accept, I do this not for myself, but for all of humanity." Her lips curved into the faintest of smiles. Not victory, not triumph, but relief. She bowed her head slowly, whispering, "Then the ritual begins." And with those words, the choice was made. A choice that would carry across worlds, across stars, a choice that could save humanity, or doom it forever. The tent was silent, the choice had been made. The soldier's words still hung in the air like smoke. The alien woman lifted her head slowly, her glowing eyes brighter than before. Her silver hair shimmering as if alive, she whispered with a calmness that felt ancient. "Then the ritual begins." The soldier's heart pounded, every muscle tense. He still held his weapon, though it now felt strange in his hands. Heavy, almost useless, as if it no longer belonged in this place. He lowered it to the ground beside him, but his eyes stayed locked on her. Every move she made was a mystery, every word a test. She reached out her hand, slow and deliberate, her palm open, glowing faintly with soft blue light. "Give me your hand," she whispered, her voice gentle but firm. "The ritual begins with touch, not of body, but of truth." The soldier hesitated, his chest tight, his instincts screamed against it, but he forced himself to breathe. He remembered her words. This was not about desire. This was about trust. He reached forward slowly, his rough hand trembling as it met hers. The moment their skin touched, a spark of warmth spread across his palm, not burning, not painful, but alive. Her eyes closed for a moment, her lips moving silently as if chanting words he could not understand. Symbols began to glow faintly across the ground of the tent, shapes like circles and lines shifting and pulsing with light. The lantern flickered and dimmed, but the glow from her skin grew brighter, filling the space with silver blue fire. The soldier's breath caught, the air felt heavy. Charged with energy, his skin tingled, his chest tightened. He wanted to pull away, but her hand held his firmly. Not with strength, but with something deeper, something unshakable. "This is the first step," she whispered, her eyes still closed. "To join in unity, to hold without fear, to share without lies." The soldier's throat felt dry. He tried to speak, but his voice broke. He only managed a whisper. "What happens next?" Her eyes opened, glowing brighter than before. "The truth within you will rise. You cannot hide it, you cannot bury it. The ritual shows who you are if your heart holds lies. They will burn, if it holds truth, it will shine." The soldier's chest tightened further. He felt the weight of his past pressing down. Battles, orders, blood. The faces of those he had lost. The choices he had made, good and bad. All of it rising inside him like a storm. He wanted to pull away, to resist, but her hand held firm, and the symbols on the ground grew brighter, pulsing with each beat of his heart. He gasped as visions flashed before his eyes. Not the tent, not the desert, but memories. Earth, his home, the streets of his childhood, the smile of his mother, the laughter of his friends. Then the battlefield, fire, death, comrades falling one by one, his heart aching with every image, his hands trembling with the weight of it. He tried to look away, but her glowing eyes held him steady, her voice calm and strong. "Do not resist, human. This is your truth. Let it rise, let it be seen." His body shook, sweat on his brow, his breath ragged. He wanted to scream, but he forced himself to stay, forced himself to endure, forced himself to let the storm pass through him. The alien woman chanted again, her words like music, low and haunting. The symbols on the ground burned brighter, forming a circle around them. The air thrummed with power. The soldier felt as if the tent no longer existed, as if he sat in a place beyond stars, beyond worlds, a place where only truth mattered. He gasped again as the weight began to ease, the storm inside him softening, his memories still painful, but no longer chains. He felt lighter, freer, as if the ritual had peeled away the lies he told himself, the walls he had built around his soul. The alien woman opened her eyes fully, her gaze softer now, her voice a whisper. "You carry scars, you carry pain, but you do not hide, you do not run. This is the truth of humanity." Her words cut deep, but they also healed. He realized then that the ritual was not about proving perfection. It was about proving honesty, not hiding flaws, but facing them, not running from scars, but carrying them with strength. The soldier's chest rose and fell, his heart still racing, but calmer now. He whispered, almost without meaning to, "And if I pass, what then?" Her lips curved slightly, not a smile, but something close. "Then my people will see you not as enemy, not as stranger, but as ally. The first step to unity will be taken, and peace may follow." The soldier looked around, the glowing symbol still burning across the ground, the air still heavy with power. But he no longer felt fear. He felt clarity for the first time in years. He felt as though he could breathe without the weight of war pressing down. The alien woman released his hand slowly, the glow fading, the symbols dimming, the lantern's light returning, but the silence that followed felt different. Not empty, but full, as if something had shifted in the universe itself. Her eyes softened further, her voice low. The ritual is not yet complete, there is one final step. And that step will decide everything. The soldier's breath caught again, his heart pounding. He thought the hardest part was over, but her words told him the true test still waited, the final step still ahead, and whatever it was, it would decide not only his fate, but the fate of two civilizations. The tent was still glowing faintly from the ritual. The soldier's breath came heavy. His chest rose and fell as if he had marched for miles. The alien woman sat across from him, her silver skin still shining softly, her eyes fixed on him with an intensity that burned deeper than fire. "You have faced the truth," she whispered, her voice steady but filled with something unspoken. "But the ritual is not finished, there is one last step. And this step decides everything." The soldier wiped sweat from his brow, his body tense, his mind spinning. He thought the visions had been the test. He thought surviving his own memories had been the trial. But her words told him the hardest part was yet to come. He clenched his jaw, his voice rough. "What must I do?" Her glowing eyes softened slightly, her voice almost gentle. "You must speak not to me but to the stars, to the truth within yourself. You must declare who you are, not as soldier, not as weapon, but as human. Only then will the ritual be complete." The soldier's stomach twisted. His throat felt dry to speak aloud, to bare himself completely, to lay his soul open in words. This was harder than facing death, harder than any battlefield. He had always been taught to stay silent, to hold his pain, to bury his fear, but now she demanded he give it voice. The silence of the tent stretched long, the desert outside still as stone. Even the stars seemed to wait. He closed his eyes, his hands shaking, and then slowly he spoke, his voice breaking at first, but growing stronger. "I am human, I am flawed. I carry scars, I carry pain, but I do not hide, I do not run. I choose to stand, I choose to trust, I choose to hope." The words left him like fire, burning through the walls he had carried for years. His chest felt lighter, his heart steady. He opened his eyes again and the tent glowed brighter, the symbols on the ground returning. Burning like silver flames, the alien woman bowed her head, her voice trembling for the first time. "The ritual accepts you have spoken truth. You are worthy." Before he could reply, the flap of the tent shifted, shadows moved outside. The soldier's hand reached for his weapon by instinct, but he froze as figures began to appear. Silent, graceful, their skin glowing like hers, their eyes bright with the same blue light. They stood outside in the desert night, a circle of alien figures surrounding the tent, watching, waiting. None carried weapons, none spoke, but their presence was overwhelming. The soldier's breath caught. He realized then he had not been alone. They had been watching all along, hidden in the darkness, waiting for the ritual's end, waiting for the truth. The alien woman rose to her feet, her body tall and proud, her voice carrying strength again. They came to witness, to see if the ritual would succeed. They came to see if humanity could be trusted. The soldier stood slowly, his legs heavy, his heart pounding. Dozens of glowing eyes stared at him. Silent, unblinking, he felt smaller than ever before, but he also felt something else, not fear, not doubt, but respect. One of the aliens stepped forward, older, taller, his silver glow brighter than the others. He raised his hand slowly and then bowed, lowering his head before the soldier. The circle of aliens followed, bowing silently, their eyes filled with something the soldier could not mistake. Respect? The alien woman turned to him, her eyes softer now, her voice like a whisper of wind. "You have done what no leader could do. You have shown truth, you have given trust, and now you have changed everything. From this night forward, my people will not see humans as enemies but as allies." The soldier's chest tightened, relief and disbelief flooding him. He had come here as one man, one soldier, alone in the desert, and now he had stood for all of humanity. His choice had altered the future, but before he could speak, the older alien lifted his head, his voice deep and echoing. "The first ritual is complete, but unity is not yet whole. There will be more trials, more tests, for peace is never given. It is earned." The soldier swallowed hard, the weight of the words heavy. The battle was not finished. This was only the beginning. The alien woman stepped closer, her glowing hand brushing his arm lightly, her voice soft. Tonight you passed. Tonight you gave hope. Remember this moment, for it will echo through the stars. The soldier looked at her, truly looked, and for the first time, he saw not only an alien, not only a stranger, but a bridge, a connection between two worlds. The night sky stretched above them, endless and filled with stars, and for the first time, he felt not fear but possibility. The ritual was over, but the story of unity had only just begun.